said in a lot of these, that about something.
Sure.
There you go. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court of July 19th, 2022 at 9:30. At this time, Magistrate Raheel, would you lead us in an invocation and the pledge?
Please bow your heads. Father, we just love you. We just thank you so much, God, for just getting us up this morning, letting us take that breath. Lord, we ask that you give us knowledge. The word says if you ask for knowledge, you give it to us abundantly. Lord, we're asking for knowledge today, Lord. We ask you to touch each and every person in here, and Lord, have blessings on our cities and our county and our states, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Magistrate Raheel. Sam, at this time, will you call the roll to bring the court to order, please?
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Raheel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
All present?
Thank you. Treasurer's transfer report, Canan.
Judge, there's not a transfer report this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Presentation and approval of all bills.
I make a motion that we approve all bills. Second motion.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell to approve the bills as presented. Any discussion, members? Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Raheel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Treasurer's report, Canan.
Yes, Judge. That includes the appropriation condition report, a monthly revenue journal, a journal transfer report, a warrant distribution, a funds receipt report, a long-term liability, and the financial statement and annual settlement through June the 30th of 2022 as reported to the Department for Local Government.
Okay. Thank you, Canan.
Thank you, Judge.
Second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by 3rd District Magistrate, Laswell, to approve the Treasurer's report as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Raheel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, ma'am. Approval of the minutes for the July 5th, 2022 meeting.
I make a motion we approve the minutes dated July 5th, 2022. Second.
Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logston, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Laswell to approve the minutes of the July 5th, 2022 meeting as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Raheel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Presentations, we don't have any on the agenda, but there's a couple of special folks here in the room. Andrew and Marcy, if y'all would like to say anything, they're from the health department. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but we're pleased to see you here today.
Well, thank you, and I wanted to take the opportunity to bring Marcy Floodwood by. I am retiring August 1st from the health department, and Marcy will be serving as our interim director, and so I wanted to take the opportunity so she can familiarize herself with Fiscal Court and introduce herself to you. And I'd just like to take a little moment to thank the county for being so supportive of the health department, especially within the last 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea.
Adrian, I want to thank you for all your time you put in, because I know you've got a tough job at times. It's good on some sides and bad on the other side, but I really appreciate what you do on a day-to-day basis and everything. I really appreciate that, really do. You've always been there when we call on you and everything, answer your questions and what have you and everything, so just want you to know publicly and everything, I appreciate what you do.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that, and just say thanks for, your time and your service there. I know the last couple of years haven't been easy. This kind of world's been divided, so a lot of people, but the health department's done a great job throughout all this pandemic, and even, quite frankly, I mean, before that, but even the last couple of years, I know it's been extremely challenging. So thank you for everything you all have done over there, particularly your service and leadership.
Thank you for your service, Andrew. We hate to see you go.
I think you're too young to go, really, I do.
Did you say retiring? Did you say retiring?
That's what she said, I think that she just,
Did you say retiring?
Retiring.
Retiring, wow.
We agree. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I am Marcy Ledler with the Health Department as well. I'm happy to be here, and we are all in this, Andrea and her leadership as well. So, doors continue to be open there. If anyone needs anything, please do not hesitate to call. Okay. And I will be seeing you all hopefully more in the next few meetings.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Marcy and Andrea. And again, Andrea, I echo what the rest of the court has said, but it's been a true opportunity to work with you all through the pandemic and everything that you've done for us to help us get through it. Thank you. We don't have any old business. New business, second reading of zoning ordinance 22-10, the Kentucky Inn Especially Caterers, Inc., Michael Sabori. Rob?
Need second reading, Common Kentucky County Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 22-10. An ordinance relating to changing the zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 residential. The property in question is 26.9 acres, more or less, located at Ridge Road in the unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has through the evidence of public hearing held the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held at the Fiscal Court. And whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in, adopts and reads the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in 7 minutes, and determines proposed zoning change is acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes and records of the Planning Commission in document number 2022Z-28, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 single-family residential. Section 2, this ordinance take effect upon passage and publication required by law. Section 3, should section provision of process ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected, it shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions, to the extent they are consistent herewith, are hereby repealed. Given first reading of public hearing at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 5th day of July 2022. Given second reading and voted upon at a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 19th day of July 2022.
Thank you, Rob. Sam, you call the roll?
Motion first.
Yes.
Make a motion, we accept ordinance 22-10.
I'll second it.
Got a motion by 4th District Magistrate Rayhill, a second by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell to approve the ordinance 22-10, the Kentucky Inn Especially Caterers, Inc., Michael Sabori. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Rob, second reading zoning ordinance 22-11, Clifford and Juanita Shepherd.
The Commonwealth of Kentucky County Bullitt, zoning ordinance number 22-11. An ordinance relating to changing the zoning of certain property from agricultural to R1 single-family residential. The property in question is 4.883 acres more or less, located at 479 Mount Eden Road in an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has through the evidence of public hearing of the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendations of the Commission, the information provided in the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony and evidence presented at the public hearing held at the Fiscal Court. Whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in, adopts the reasons of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change, and approves and accepts the recommendations of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in 7 minutes. In terms of proposed zoning change, acceptable and should be approved. Now therefore be ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes of Records of Planning Commission in document number 2022-Z-29, is hereby changed from agricultural to R1 single-family residential. Section 2, this ordinance takes effect upon passage and publication required by law. Section 3, seeing section provision of prior ordinance be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions, to the extent they are consistent herewith, are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing in a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 5th day of July 2022. Given second reading and vote upon a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 19th day of July 2022.
Make a motion to follow recommendation on ordinance 22-11, which is Clifford and one in Shepherd.
I'll second that.
Got a motion by First District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by Second District Magistrate Logsdon to follow Planning and Zoning's recommendation of 22-11, Clifford and Juanita Shepherd. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Bob, second reading of zoning ordinance 22-12, Nell Hall trustees.
The second reading of Common Kentucky County Bullitt zoning ordinance number 22-12. An ordinance relating to changing the zoning of certain property from stream reserve to R1 single-family residential. The property in question is 1.012 acres more or less, located in a portion of 1521 Halls Lane, an unincorporated area of the county. Whereas the Fiscal Court of Bullitt County has considered the evidence of public hearing held by the Joint Planning Commission and the recommendation of the Commission, the information about the staff report of the Office of Bullitt County Planning and Zoning, and the testimony of evidence presented at the public hearing held by the Fiscal Court. Whereas the Fiscal Court concurs in and adopts the readings of the Joint Planning Commission for said zoning change and approves and accepts the recommendation of the Planning Commission in this matter as set out in 7 minutes. In terms of the proposed zoning change, the acceptable should be approved. Now therefore be ordained by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, the above property located in the unincorporated area of Bullitt County, and more particularly described in the minutes of Records of Planning Commission in document number 2022-Z-35, is hereby changed from stream reserve to R1 single-family residential. Section 2, this ordinance takes effect upon passage and publication required by law. Section 3, issuing section provision of prior ordinance to be declared unconstitutional or invalid for any reason by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected and shall remain in full force and effect. Section 4, all ordinances and resolutions, to the extent they are consistent herewith, are hereby repealed. Given first reading and public hearing in a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 5th day of July 2022. Given second reading and vote upon a regular meeting of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court on the 19th day of July 2022.
I move we follow recommendation of the Planning Commission on ordinance number 22-12, Nell Hall trustee.
Second.
Got a motion by First District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by Fourth District Magistrate Ray Hill to follow Planning and Zoning's recommendation on 22-12, Nell Hall trustees. Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have action requested on the hiring of EMS employees. See your attached sheet in your packets, gentlemen. And a couple of comments there. We have 2 of them that we're hiring is from our EMT graduating class of last year.
You got the one, you got the Bullitt County Public School one,
Yes.
and then one of the water.
Yes.
Did you make the motion?
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
Got a second by Second District Magistrate Logsdon to hire the new hires at EMS. Any other discussion, members? Hearing none, Sam, call the roll, please.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And action item number 5, hiring of Ronald Welker as part-time animal care attendant at $15 an hour effective July 12th of 2022 because we ran out of help at the animal shelter.
Second it.
Got a second by First District Magistrate Mitchell. Any comments or concerns, members? Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Logston?
Yes.
Mr. Laswell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We have a pretty cool presentation coming up here. We need action on it of Safe Streets Action. Keith's our Major Representative to BIPTA on roads and transportation. Steve?
Yes, sir. Thank you. This is at the last Transportation Technical Committee, which I'm the chair of. We had a presentation on a grant opportunity called Safe Streets. Wanted to talk to you all about this because action needs to be done before August 1st if we're going to get involved in this. You all have got a packet that's pretty detailed, but we have put this together. Candy helped me put this together. It's kind of an overview of this, and just to kind of let you all know. So the Safe Streets Roads for All is, I know the Sheriff's Department called and said, is that something they need to look at? We had the Road Department call and say, is that something we need to look at? It really isn't. It's a new discretionary federal grant program. It just came out. The federal government just sent this out. It's a comprehensive effort to prevent roadway deaths and serious injuries. So it's totally looking at where your most dangerous roads are in your county and your region. The grant is $5 billion over 5 years. It starts with $1 billion in 2022. So it will go into effect in 2023. But it's 2022, 2023. The application deadline is September 15th. So that's why we're moving on this pretty quick. The types of grants that they have are an action plan grant and an implementation grant. The one that we're looking at right now is the action plan. You have to do the plan before you can do the do the implementation grant. It's to develop, complete, and supplement a comprehensive safety action plan. KIPTA is looking at, and what they presented to us is to do this regionally. We can do this individually. We can do this by county. Quite frankly, you have zero shot. If we do it regionally, we have a better opportunity. But it must be done. We have to give them notice before August 1st whether we want to take part in this. That's why we're doing this presentation today. The overview of the Safe Streets and Roads for All, it's an opportunity. Safety is the growing priority in roads, in the road plans that they're going on. A regional transportation safety action plan will likely not only position the region for future Safe Streets grants, this should be a continuing program, but it will position the region to be more competitive for a range of additional funding opportunities and maximize the potential to local jurisdictions. What that means is we'll get our name kind of in play here. And as a region, they'll start to look at what our region is. Of course, the KIPTA region is Jefferson, Bullitt, Oldham, Spencer, Shelby, Trimble, Henry. I didn't leave anybody out, did I?
No.
I said Spencer. And then 2 counties in southern Indiana. That's our total region. So that gives us more power than trying to do this, especially for the smaller counties in the region. The economy of scale, local jurisdictions will get the chance to form a local safety action plan committee, so we'll have people here that will take part in this, that will be a part of the bigger group. Let's see the next slide. To get the grants, this is what we have to have. We have to identify the most dangerous locations based on an analysis of existing conditions. That and the beauty of this is KIPTA will help us with this. They will do we will help them. Most everybody in this room could probably tell them where the most dangerous streets are, but there's an analysis that goes along with that really shows you where they are. Identification of the most dangerous locations based on this analysis of systematic factors, high-risk roadway features, where your most traffic is, where schools are, where crossings, whether people walk on the road, that will go into it as well. It'll be whatever fatalities, both in vehicles, also folks that walk, pedestrians, that will be a part of this as well. Identify a comprehensive set of projects and strategies to address the safety problems. This would set the stage for the implementation. So we have to have all of these things in place before we can get the grant to implement whatever strategies they say and how to pay for those. One of the things that I do want to point out on this is that Jefferson County, Metro Louisville has already done this. They've done this just for themselves. One of the things that and we'll get to the cost of this, one of the things that they have volunteered to do is they are going to be a part of this grant opportunity. They don't really need to. They've already done it, and they can walk us through a lot of this. They're a big help. As most of you all know, I've butted heads with them, especially on the Transportation Committee, more times than not. But this is where they're actually trying to be a good neighbor and be a part of this. The components of the action plan, high-ranking officials, a governing body, you guys, will commit to, it's called Vision Zero. And that is, again, something that's probably never going to happen, but you're looking for 0 fatalities. That's what your goal is. A representative committee will oversee the action plan. So once the action plan gets put in place, this body would pick a committee that would oversee it, make sure that our part is getting done. We would have public engagement. So what KIPTA will do is they'll set up public meetings so that folks can come in, talk about, give your opinion on where the most dangerous roads. I already said in our meeting, I asked the question, the most dangerous road in Bullitt County is 65. Well, it's a federal highway, so that's not going to be part of this. This will be county and city roads that they're talking about. There'll be an equity analysis, and that will look at to make sure that there are places that have been overlooked. They call them disadvantaged places. Really what it is areas that have been overlooked in the past. We're going to make sure that those folks are represented in this. Assessment of the current safety policies and the identification of baselines and goals to evaluate the progress moving forward. The estimated cost on this will be $500,000 to $1 million for an action plan. What KIPTA is recommending is a $750,000 plan. That kind of puts it in the middle of that. The federal grants require a 20% local match, which we now know. And so that would be $150,000 of local funds needed. As you go to the next slide, this shows you the breakdown of this. And the one that you don't see on here is Metro Louisville. Metro Louisville has already said that they will take $50,000 of this. They're going to take a third of this and pay for it. And again, we have to think about this, and I will say this is progress that we have made as a county, as having leadership in KIPTA, with the judge and with Felicia goes, a lot of folks go to these things. Having that leadership in KIPTA now, they're going to take a third of this, again, basically as a good neighbor, and will help lead the way. When you look at this, our breakdown for Bullitt County for this body would be 12%. That's $12,287.41. That's what our cost would be to get a $750,000 grant opportunity. I also included Shepherdsville and Mount Washington in there. They are voting bodies. They have a vote in KIPTA. And I have asked, I know Mayor Edens is here, I've asked how we can get Hillview and Lebanon Junction, Mayor Dangerfield is here as well, how we can get you all as voting members. There is a threshold on population. I'm seeing if we can change those rules to get you guys as a voting member as well, because you're always involved in this and you're always welcome to come to these meetings. But I have started to work on that in the background to see. But those two also have a vote. If they decided as an entity not to do it, I think we could add those two in. You're looking at still roughly $20,000. Now they've said in passing that they would be involved in this, they would want to do this. If they didn't, I think that our threshold on this is roughly $20,000 that it would cost us if we decide to do this, and I'm here just to recommend that. The selection criteria, it will focus strictly on evidence-based projects and strategies. Once this analysis comes in, wherever this analysis says your most dangerous roads are, that's what's going to get fixed. And we can all have an idea of, again, this road's bad. Again, I tried to get 65 thrown into this. That's not going to happen. It's all going to be based on the analysis that happens after the action plan and after the implementation comes in. The dates, the next steps, by the 1st of August, we have to give them a verbal commitment that we are going to do this, that we'll be willing to pay our portion of this, and that we want to take part. And then by the 15th of August, there'll be a formal written commitment to do this as well. Again, I'm recommending this because this is an opportunity. Again, it just came up. The federal government grants are very hard to come by. They put a lot of hurdles in your way. We found that out from the previous administration in the federal government to the administration now. They changed everything, the way they do things. This is probably the way we're going to need to go from here on out. And again, once we get our name in this, we basically get into the system as a region, we're going to have more opportunities, and then we'll also have opportunities to do this ourselves as well. Are there any questions or comments?
I just want to ask you one question. There's a lot of this information that Kip and everything put together. Do they rely on our, like the sheriff's department and everything? Because when the sheriff's department checks up, goes out on these accidents and everything, there's a wealth of information there, and Walt can attest to that and everything. I mean, I've relied on it in the past and everything, but for information on accidents and everything.
Yeah.
Do they rely on them for a lot of this information?
They do, and I'm sure they get a lot of their information from the sheriff's department, from the road department. There is it's called street lights.
Right.
And basically they have set up places that show where a road's falling apart, because it just with the road department, they work with District 5 as well. District 5 is a huge part of this. All of that information is funneled in. And again, this will be, it won't be anecdotal. It will be based on the numbers of fatalities, which is that's all fed in. The sheriff's department does that. If there's a fatality, you have to feed that into a system so people know where that happened. I mean, that's just, and again, that's what they're looking at, is the first and foremost will be the fatality side of this. So they do have it's an ongoing, they have all kinds of systems that they use to get these numbers. And again, Metro has already done this. And so we'll kind of follow their lead and how they put the grant application together.
Well, I know there's a wealth of information there in that sheriff's department and everything, but when I was working on these things on that rough surface on 44, one of the deputies and everything, before Walt became sheriff, I asked for some reports and everything on an area that I had. There was 159 accidents in 29 months. One fatality and 53 of those were injury accidents. Those are the kind of things that they can get information from.
And they have that. They have that. Now, part of this will be the local governing body setting a committee. The sheriff's department, the road department will be a part of that.
Right, okay.
They would have to be a part of that.
May I ask a question? Mm-hmm. So, one of the things, is there a possibility of any funds available within this to get a traffic engineer or something to look at, and here's what I'm talking about looking at. Anytime we have I-65 shut down, it shuts down Shepherdsville and a good part of central Bullitt County. One day I know, I personally, or the sheriff's office, I as sheriff, we were at Bel Air Drive, which is just south of, it's the first left after the jail, down 61. It took us 45 minutes to get from Bel Air Drive to the sheriff's office that day. Now, if we had and it was just locked up solid, 61 was just locked up solid. If we had an emergency, ambulance needed, there wasn't any place for the cars to go unless we just started pushing them off into ditches for an ambulance to get through there, for us to make emergency response. And so I've had a great concern and would welcome, I think, frankly, that we should as a community, Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Hillview, Pioneer Village, Lebanon Junction, Mount Washington, the smaller cities as well, Fox Chase, etc., because it affects all of us, but we need to take and get together and try to figure out a way that we do not allow I-65 and a traffic problem there to totally shut down the commerce in this community, and number two, the traffic flow, because it is a life and death situation that is waiting to happen. So my question is, can we get an engineer to look at that?
And that was the first thing that, as I said in this meeting, my question was, the most dangerous road we have is I-65. We can't do anything to affect I-65 with this plan. What this plan will do is exactly that. Now, one of the issues, and the judge and I have worked a lot on all of our roads, because not just if there's a wreck on 65 and it shuts everything down. Quite frankly, you can't get anything through 44. So that's why our plan is in place to widen 44 in sections, because it's the safety issue as well. This will create that. What happens with this
Plan.
the implementation plan, and that would be part of once we do the plan, and they're very aware of what 65 does to us. So I think our focus would probably be exactly that. Here's where our biggest issue, and there are roads that are going to have some changes made. Once we find out the fatalities are there, it could up where the federal government will give us money to widen a road. They're not doing right now, but that is part of this, yes.
Well, but that's not what I'm driving at. Money, well.
Yeah, it is money.
No, it's not. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about widening roads. I'm talking about coming up with a plan.
Yeah, well, that's part of the plan.
An engineer look at a plan,
Yes.
because we have tractor trailers due to ways. They get off I-65 and they come up Pumpkin
Right,
Center Road.
right.
If we don't get that stopped,
Right, well-
people are gonna die.
Exactly, and that's why we're doing this. That's where the federal
Right.
government came with this.
Yep.
But part of that will be that you will have to widen some roads just to get an ambulance around and things like that. So that is part of it, and it is a money issue, and that's why the federal government's doing that. And the only way to get this much money to do something is to do it regionally. So that's what we're doing here.
I've got a question. You mentioned, I'm going to throw this word out there and I want to come back to it. I don't want to disrupt what you're doing with your presentation, but if I don't bring this up, I'll forget about it. But I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and this kind of goes along with what you said. It made me think about it. I'm just going to say this word and we'll come back to it after you're done, but trains. And I don't want to get into it right now, but I want to talk about it before we leave today, because I've seen that there's been quite a few trains with CSX or whoever blocking intersections, shutting down, and that creates an emergency situation too. But I just want to table that, but I want to address that because I've seen people.
And I will tell you
concerned about
that if there are fatalities in that area, that would come into play.
Okay, but I just want to bring that up, but you mentioned something about a committee. I've looked over this. This is really, I mean, it sounds like really good stuff. It's obvious new. There's probably a lot of questions. Nobody, you know, anytime there's a new opportunity for grant money, it would be silly for us to not take advantage of it. But you mentioned about a committee I'm looking at this list of roads here on Louisville and some of the things that they established criteria.
And that's just an
for.
example of what it would look like.
But with that being an example, you know, we've got 21% Bullitt County of that funding. It looks like, you know, if you add Mount Washington, Shepherdsville, are you establishing a committee for our own county, or
Yes.
is there a committee for the entire project?
The committee for, the group from the county, whoever, and it
Whether
would
it's
be this body.
laws, a representative
Yeah,
sheriff's
well, it
department?
would be up to fiscal court who's on
Okay.
it. Because you all are the ones that are going to have to pay the freight. So fiscal court will decide who is on that. Now, it would probably be by percentage, how many people we would have on that. That group would be basically a subcommittee, but it would meet with the whole group. You would be part of the whole.
Okay, so we'll establish our own committee to determine which roads we feel are the most necessary.
Yes, you would have the say in that. Now, again, based on, your all's say on this will basically be based on the analysis that comes back. Here's where your deaths are.
Right,
Again,
right.
You have to remember, this is a zero fatality. I think the sheriff would back me up on this. I don't know that we'll ever get to that, but it's a lofty goal to have, and that's what this is about.
Is there a way to determine, based on our investment, what type of, I mean, I know it's submitting and it's all up in the air, but is there a way to determine what we might anticipate coming back? It's a $5 billion project, but locally.
About 750 million is what we're looking at for the entire grant.
For the entire.
For the first year.
That's
For the
all the
first year.
counties listed.
It's 5 years.
Okay.
You have to remember, it's 5 years. But it's 750, $750,000 for the entire region. Again, we would have, with Mount Washington and Shepherdsville as well, with the county, if you combine those, we would get the majority of that outside of Jefferson County, although Jefferson County is saying that they're not going to take any of this money.
Why does, like, Oldham, do they not, and Shelby, do they not have, is Shepherdsville, LaGrange, are they not voting entities as?
They're not.
No.
So we're lucky in Bullitt County that we have two cities that are
Yes.
actually separate.
And that is based on, you have to get a population
Yeah.
level.
Okay. So that's a big advantage
That's a
for
huge
Bullitt County
advantage.
because we've got two other players involved.
And that's why I'm trying to get the other two large cities involved in this.
Well, let me ask you a step further. Since Bullitt's listed, we've got Shepherdsville and Mount Washington. If they want to do this, then I assume Shepherdsville and Mount Washington, they would create their own
Yes,
committees?
They would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I mean, free money out there for a small investment.
It's a very, and again, we have to think about this long term.
That's why we got you here, Keith, go after it.
Well, this is a long term as well, because there's going to be other things that come up, and again, once we're in the system as a region, it's going to be easier for us to take hold of these things.
I will say, Mayor Dangerfield, it might work the opposite for you there in Lebanon Junction, because I go to Litchfield quite frequently, and it just seems like, I mean, because I've been going to Litchfield since I've lived up in Louisville, Bullitt County surrounding areas for 20 plus years, but I don't know what's going on with the federal side of working on 65, but it really seems like the last 2 to 3 years, it's been a nightmare going to Litchfield. I mean, I put my GPS on when I drive to Litchfield, because my GPS shows red and shows me the traffic problems, and it's just a good indication to tell me whether the road's clear or not, even though I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'll put my GPS in just to go 5 miles, but I have never driven through Lebanon Junction so much in my life. And I've stopped there and got drinks and everything else. You'll probably see an uptick in business because everybody's coming through your town now.
Well, on that, if you get what you're talking about, you will drive through Lebanon Junction a lot of times, you just sit there.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is really, Walt's saying over there, but the contradicting factor is so many people got to die to get the attention of it. So you start, every time I come over here, I hear about 44, how bad it is, and everybody knows it is. When you get off 65, it's north and southbound interstate, you're actually going home or going somewhere that's a tributary off of 65. When you live in how many states below Kentucky, and they're going from north to south, south to north, it shuts down. And the reason being, the last 2 years, Sean, is 65 has been under construction. When you channel it down to 2 lanes, 1 lane, concrete barriers, you have a wreck. Back again, you can't get an ambulance to them unless you go to the other end and come backwards or step fly them. And in the last 2 or 3 months, they're taking advantage of the weather. So in doing so, they shut it down on the weekends to 1 lane to try and move the barriers and what have you. Then they jump off, as you said earlier, Pumpkin Road, here and there, look for tributaries to get off and on. Any side road, even Sanders Lane, Lebanon Junction, as small as it is, especially tractor trailer on the side, about once every other week because of this. And then there again, 65 is a north-south deal, it's better. I have a mini 65 when anything goes wrong. Because those people are not trying to get home, they're trying to get to Lebanon Junction, they're trying to get to Florida, whatever, spring break. So 61 is all been talked about, and there's a lot done to it. I know it's on the table to be done in the future, but Lebanon Junction gets all the traffic.
Well, and this will put that, that's what this will do. That will bring that to a forefront.
Visually looked at, took pictures, took it back, everybody's familiar with it.
Yeah.
In the old drugstore area, that road had a crack or 2 in it, under 65, it's falling down, it's about 100 feet long now.
I just wonder,
Because of the heavy traffic.
I just wonder, I don't mean to get off on a side note, but I just wonder if, as a community, if we can do more to put pressure on, I know it's a federal road, but it does seem like the last couple of years, this construction, because you can't stop it being a dangerous road and interstate, but I really feel like a lot of those fatalities and different things is due to the construction, the obstacles. And I'm just wondering, I travel all the time to different places, and it seems like the last couple of years, these projects in Bullitt County, you talk to anybody, it's like, I'll pull a trailer and I'm gonna drive in the fast lane and they can be behind me and I'll hold traffic up, I don't care. But I know I'm not getting in that middle lane on 65, I'm going to E-Town from here. It will kill you. I mean, I just question, as a community, as a fiscal court, as a county, I mean, I'm not trying to hold our state representative senators, accountable, but I'm just saying, are we putting enough pressure as cities and a community on whoever it is that makes those decisions to ensure that this project gets done in a timely fashion? Because it has been dragging on for the last 3 years. Anybody you talk to, 65 in Bullitt County is the worst part of 65 if you were to drive from Chicago or...
And that's why I wanted to include that and was told point blank no. But what this does is this gets that started with funding to figure out how, and again, now the next phase of that is when you implement this plan, what does that mean? So that will come back with concrete ideas on how we can alleviate again, it's about fatalities.
Yeah, I know we got on a side note, this is city and county roads, and we'll have a committee and establish those roads, but I mean, Walt brought that up, it's his fault, so.
Well, I tell you what,
But it's a major concern.
if you'd have run them down 65 the last 5 years, and they patch this spot, and they
Yeah.
patch that spot, and then they go out, and a year later, it gets bad. I mean, many times, you know, I've had friends is, you know when you're gonna hit Bullitt County.
Yeah.
Used to be. But if you watch them now, how much concrete they're pouring, I mean, I'm telling you what, they're tearing out lanes 6 miles long, busting every concrete up, pouring another 2 foot on top of it. So they're trying to do it right. It just takes forever to do it. But that's what you get. Or we could go back to, you know, patching this and patching that. You know, in construction is everybody wants everything done right now. But if you're gonna do it right, it's gonna take a while. You know what I'm saying? Once it's done, the way they're doing it, you ought to see the amount of rock and sand and stuff they're bringing in every day. I mean, I go by there every day, and it just, I mean, it sucks, excuse my language. But I can see the end result. And you see that machine down there, and it's busting up concrete all day long, just boom, 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 and they're coming back pouring another 1.5 feet on top. I mean, just straight. If it don't fix it, nothing ain't gonna fix it.
Yeah, we'll have to get Robert to do an interlocal agreement with the federal government.
Good luck.
There you go. Okay.
So would this be just county roads?
County, it would cover the entire,
So it won't be state roads or
No.
federal?
I don't, well, we're going to put that in there, and then we'll see. We'll see. Again, it's a federal funding, it's not a state, but each county is going to have a say in it, so we will,
Sounds good.
anything that's not federal, I think, is probably going to be a part of this.
Do you need any specifications in this motion? I'll make a motion that we approve the Safe Streets action proposal based upon your presentation today. Do we need to set any limits financially or anything?
I mean, the most.
Yeah, the numbers are there.
20,000, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good thing, but I'll second that motion, but anything we can do to help the situation, we need to try to do.
Okay. Okay, we've had a lot of discussions, so we will go to make a motion to approve the Safe Streets presentation and actions that's required by August 1, and then a follow-up on the August, was it 15th?
August 15th is a...
15th date as well. Got a motion by First District Magistrate Mitchell. Second District Magistrate Logsdon, a second by First District Magistrate Mitchell. Sam, call the roll.
I have one question, I'm sorry. Am I putting a maximum on this or no? Is there a maximum on this?
I mean, you can, that's up to you guys, but it shouldn't be more than 20,000 based on what, it's 150,000 is what it's going to be. Louisville has said that they're going to take a third of it, so they've broken it down that way. So.
You want me to put the maximum in there?
I would think. Put 20,000 in there if we have to revisit it. Yeah, I'm just gonna pay it.
Okay. Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell? Yes. Mr. Logsdon?
Yes.
Mr. Laszlo?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Very good. Robert? Next item is, Road Foreman Mr. Watkins is here for a proposal to purchase a couple of new dump beds for our existing...
Get Keith to do this for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what we got is, we're trying to buy 2 new dump trucks, but it's not gonna happen anytime soon. The quickest, we're talking to all of them, Freightliner, International, Mike. Quickest we're gonna get dump trucks is second quarter 24.
Wow.
So,
Well, you're about 2 years out?
yeah, 2 years out. So, and I've got 2 trucks over, they're 2008s Sterlings that we've just had to park back in the back because the beds are rotted off of them. One's about to fall off and I'm afraid to even put trees in it. The others just got such a big hole, you can't haul gravel, can't haul nothing in it. And we've passed on, but there's nothing left to weld to. So, what we was gonna do here was try and buy 2 new beds, have put over on those Sterlings, and they're 26,000 each, and then that'd get us where to get another 5-6 years at least, 7 out of those 2 trucks, and keep us going till we can get 2 new ones coming to fill the fleet back up. because we lose 2 trucks. We can keep running, but we've got no backups.
Right.
So,
I'll make the motion that we accept the quote here to install 2 new dump body beds for existing trucks at the road department. At a cost new, you want the cost included in that? Or? Yeah, for a cost new each of $26,312.
When will they have these?
this guy says if everything goes good here today, I told him I'd call him back. He said we could drop the trucks off this afternoon. We'll get them into the shop tomorrow. He's got a couple of holes open. I've been talking to him for the last 6 weeks or so. He'll get them in there and get them took apart. He'll go on and get the order. The order's sitting up there just waiting on a go because they got to build these beds. And he said it'll take them about 5 weeks to build the beds. They'll have these all off, have the frames cleaned up, hoist, everything. If they're needing any attention, they'll have that done when the beds come in, or they'll have the trucks back in about 7 weeks.
Do you think you can have both these back before cold weather?
Yeah, he said he'd have them both back about the second week of August.
Okay.
So, no, second week of September. Yeah.
September.
By then, yeah.
I've already made the motion, but you feel good mechanically about the trucks and making an investment in them? Like that?
Yeah, I think the trucks are, as far as roadworthy, they're roadworthy. Besides the bed.
You always take the bed and use it on, you always use the bed on something else if you had to.
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion, members? Got a motion by 2nd District Magistrate Logsdon, a second by 1st District Magistrate Mitchell to approve the purchase of the dump beds to replace on the existing Sterling trucks at the road department. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Fiscal?
Yes.
Mr. Logsdon?
Yes.
Mr. Laszlo?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes. Thank you, Robert.
Robert, real quick, and we may have already done this, I know we talked in the past, you said second quarter, is that right, of 2024?
Yep.
Do we need to get in line, or need to get an order in, or what do we on the list, or?
We put the bids out. They was in last Friday. The bids was due in for the trucks.
Right.
And none come in, which I didn't figure they would, because ain't nobody gonna bid it, because they
Nobody's
don't
gonna
need
bid something
it.
2 years, I didn't know if we had already ordered and like lock a price in, and
Well,
get
that's
them
what,
in 2.
I've got a whole stack of them on the thing over now. We're trying to narrow it down.
Probably know we'll need them in 2 years, huh?
And then we'll get it back to y'all here in the next couple of weeks.
Right.
I'll just bring it up, maybe look into figuring out what we need to do. If it's 2 years out before we can get them, we might want to figure out what we need to do to place an order for those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that we know we can anticipate in 2 years, we got 2 new ones coming or something. It's gonna be that long.
Yeah, because you miss a couple of weeks, you could miss another quarter on an order.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe look into that, maybe in the next meeting or something, if they need a deposit, we need to look into getting some of those ordered if we need to.
Yeah.
Hate to wait 2 years and then you're 2 years out again, you know?
No. We'll get them ordered.
Yep.
I have something worked up by next fiscal quarter
Okay.
on the trucks.
Okay.
So, hey.
Thank you, young man.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Action item number 8, to appoint Brent Wheeler to the Joint Planning Commission to complete Trish Ford's term to expire June 30th of 2023. And I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Got a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logsdon. Any discussion, members? Hearing none, Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Logsdon?
Yes.
Mr. Laszlo?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We're going to need an executive session, but I'm going to do the public comments first. Robin Gilbert? Do I?
I decline. I just want to make sure I sign in just in case I have anything to say.
Okay. Buddy Shepherd? Thank you, Robin.
I'd like for fiscal court to pass where the ordinance on that Mount Eden Road, the haulers will have to obey what the Army says for them to haul. Now, what happened was, years ago, I got a load limit put on there at 15,000, but at that time I didn't know the state had an 18,000 pound load on it, any county road. So that's not a Bullitt County law or nothing like that, that's state law, and I'd like for them to make them stick to that.
Stick to the 15,000 ton, 15 ton, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Instead of 18, I don't know, I'm going to defer that question to the legal team. If we can, I don't know if we can dumb down state policies.
Well, I asked Rob here to call the Corps of Engineers and see what they...
The only response I can get is that anyone hauling needs to comply with state law. So as far as the military is concerned, they don't police what these trucks do on roads that are not on their installation. So if they're in violation of any state laws, then those are to be enforced by, the officials in those areas. So the military's not going to sit there and tell them they can run overweight or they have to run. I mean, they can't give them permission to do that. They don't have the right to give them permission to run overweight on county roads or state roads. So whatever the limit is legally set at, that's what they have to comply with.
Well, I thank you for calling them, because I had called them myself before.
So I basically got a non-answer, but that's pretty much what they weren't going to tell me what their requirements are. They said they have to comply with the law. So that's all they would tell me. And that's what I expected.
Can we call DOT just to have them check the trucks? Is it something a homeowner can do, or is that something that, like state police or sheriff's department, that's what they do?
We don't have any scales.
Right.
Now, I'm not absolutely opposed to getting in that business if the fiscal court wants to purchase a set of scales, but that's not something that we have the capability of doing through the sheriff's office. And in terms of, here's what my experience has been in contacting the vehicle enforcement folks with DOT. It's not that they will just say, hey man, you got to go pound sand, we can't go with you. But they're busy, they don't have, they're here, there, and yonder, and their primary focus is I-65. That's their bread and butter.
Yep.
And so if you recall, we were able to, for some short period of time, we got them to commit to come work on Brooks Hill Road for a bit. The likelihood that we're going to be able to get them to come work on Mount Eden Road and Pitts Point Road, I don't know now. I recall years ago when I was county attorney, Rob may well have been either in the county judge's office or with us, I don't remember. But when they started doing that big construction job there at off Pitts Point Road in there, they were rebuilding a tank range in there. They had an outfit come out of New York City, not New York City, well maybe New York City, but out of New York. And they came to us because we had a weight limit on that road, and we required them to come take a photograph of the road beforehand and agree that they would repair the road after, and I'm talking probably 15 years ago, 20 maybe. So whatever we may be able to do on Mount Eden Road being a county road, if I recall it correctly, the Army does not have the authority to violate county law, county road limit. We got them to work with us pretty good when we were there because we let them New York folks know that we like New York, but we'll take your trucks and then pound them if you...
Well, years ago, I got them to build a bridge called Salt River up from West Point. They'd go through Fort Knox, come out there and come to Mount Eden Road without getting on it.
And those guys from New York that time, they didn't want to have to go over to Post and come through that way because where they were bringing a lot of their stuff and all was from local and Louisville area vendors, and it was going to add another hour and a half to them to have to take and go down through the cantonment area at Fort Knox to come back on that bridge there. So, as I say, we were able to get them to accommodate. I say accommodate, it wasn't really much accommodation, it was just, hey guys, comply with the law. And that sounds as though that's what Rob has found when the Army said, we're not telling our people they don't have to comply with state law.
And the county, that ordinance is still in place. I mean, it was passed pursuant to a state statute that allows the county to permit, trucks or companies to run overweight as long as they put up some type of surety, whether it's a letter of credit, a bond, something to cover the cost of any damage. So that's still an option if fiscal court wants to look at it. If they want to find out who the contractor is who's doing this work, then they can work with them and with Robert to survey the road, figure out the condition it is before they start, as opposed to when it's finished, have them put up whatever bond or security to cover the cost of it. I know we've worked with a number of different companies over the years in those types of situations, so we can do that with this project. I don't know the extent of the project, I don't know what they're doing, how long it's going to be going on, I don't know any of the details of what they're doing on the base right now. So I don't know what I think in that case, we got some unfortunate, they had a general contractor, so we were able to work with one company to deal with all of them.
Well, see, pardon me, see what happened there was Judge Harper and Kevin Holloway out here come out to my house. I wasn't magistrate at the time. And Judge Harper and he agreed that they would take care of the road. They come out there and passed it a little bit one time, Holloway did, from the rock quarry out here. And of course now everything's changed because Kevin's got out of it, Judge has died. I'm the only one who knows about it. But Judge Harper agreed to let them haul concrete back there. They'd take care of the road. Well, they passed it one time a little bit. Haven't done nothing since. They've been hauling all these years, since about 56. And of course I had trouble with them before, with a bus turnaround, back where they put the gate. It's 1 mile from 44 to the gate. They don't let nobody through without punching the right button and all that sort of stuff. So therefore, they hauled all this time back there, put the concrete truck because Judge Harper and him agreed to that. But there's only 2 of us left, and that's Holloway. And of course, he sold his part out. Him and the other brother sold out to the youngest 2, I believe. So now the Quality has sold their concrete business out to a green company. I don't know what the name of it is.
Buddy, is the road tore up?
It's rough.
Is it rough?
But of course now, as long as they haul that big heavy load in there, as long as they haul it, keep squeezing it out to the side.
Well, Robert, if he gets time, won't be the schedule.
Of course, we fixed this twice after 56 when they changed all that because one of the bus drivers come back there and told my daughter-in-law that the bus wasn't going to come back Mount Eden Road no more because they didn't have a turnaround. Well, of course, at that time, I didn't know it become Fiscal Horse job to build a turnaround for me. Well, I got that, found out that was what it was, and Judge Rigdon sent the county out there and fixed a turnaround at my oldest son's driveway, so my grandson could have a bus to ride to school when he started at school at Nichols. So it's a long story, but
yeah. Well, buddy, what we'll do, we'll send Robert out there, and I have a meeting over at Fort Knox Friday morning early, and I'll see what type of construction it is, because we haven't received anything from Fort Knox officially about any type of new construction going on outside of just normal, what I'm going to say, repair work. So we'll we'll try to get you some answers, okay? Did you hear me? I said I have a meeting in Fort Knox Friday morning, and I'll see what they're constructing and where they're coming from. And it'll take them a while to probably get back with me because they have, HR is really running the place over there, Human Resources Command, and they have multiple commands moving in and out. And we'll see what they're doing, but we'll have Robert go back and look at the road and see what kind of shape it's in.
Judge, see if you can get that code to that gate for Buddy, so he can get back in there and see what they're doing.
Yeah, right.
I know what,
You know the code?
I already know what they're doing.
Okay, all right.
They
Well,
blowed up so much concrete down there. It's unbelievable. They dug big holes down there first, were blowing in. When they first come up here from Mississippi, dropped a bunch up here, they had the colored guards from Mississippi do ride the range, you know, and keep everything straight. Well, one of their Jeeps broke down, and a couple of my sons and I were out there on the road weeding the tobacco pit, and he come up there and asked me if I'd drive him back down to Rogers Holler, where they're doing all that blowing up. And so when my sons asked him, how big's this next blast? He said, I can't say, but I can tell you what the other one was. 30,000 pound dynamite in one hole. And when we got a picture of it, from what looked like a bomb that went off.
man,
4 miles, well, probably 2 miles away of bird flies from my house to that hollow. About 4 or 5 miles you drive around the road. Well, thank you a lot. Appreciate it.
okay, buddy.
And
Thank you.
appreciate anything you could do.
We'll see what we can do, okay? All right, so at this time,
Let me know.
Dennis, do you have any comments before we go into executive session?
No, I may have something come back in, but not right now, though.
Sean?
I'm good.
Joe?
Nope, we're good to go.
Joe? I just have one. Andrea, thank you for all your service. Marcy, you're filling some big footsteps in between the interim here. Mary Dangerfield, Mary Edens, thank you all for coming today. Kevin, good to see you again. Quite warm outside yesterday. But, and Vera, thanks for being a continuing supporter of court, and look forward to next year. So at this time, I need a motion to go into executive session over land.
Second.
Got a motion by First District Magistrate Mitchell, a second by Second District Magistrate Logsdon to go into executive session to discuss land. Sam, call the roll.
Mr. Laxman? Yes. Mr. Baker? Yep. Summers?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?